So whereabouts are you? Are you in your base?
Yeah, I haven't been on for like, I don't know, 2 weeks. It must be.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been looking. Well, I've been reading up a lot more and listening to podcasts on Bitcoin and stuff. And it
Yeah,
just, I don't know, man. It just seems ridiculously amazing, and the potential of it. It's
yeah,
just, it's incredible, the potential
yeah,
of it and what it can do. What it can do. So much
yeah.
that I'm so much more convinced in the possibility of Bitcoin having drastic increases in its value versus like silver and gold, precious metals.
More so than silver and
Yeah,
precious.
yeah, straight up, because you can't do um you can't do things with gold and silver that you can
Well,
with
yeah, you
with
you
Bitcoin.
can't
You
teleport it
can't. Yeah, exactly.
instantaneously.
You can't. Yeah, you can't just teleport it across a country. Ah, shit. Like you cannot do that. So,
Yeah,
and I was listening to Andreas Antonopoulos, of course, like the Bitcoin guru, as he's called, aka, and he was bringing that case point up or he's bringing up a case point where he was talking about the accessibility that it can offer to all these third world countries, and like the 95% of the world that doesn't have accessibility to global financial markets, and that you could have some dude making little trinkets in the middle of nowhere. Hang on, I'm just grab my minecart. You can have dudes in the middle of nowhere making trinkets, and that can now connect to a global financial economy, or the
yeah,
global banking systems,
yeah.
or
I
not
agree.
banking systems, the financial markets, off their Nokia phone. They can have access to it.
Yeah, Bitcoin is like a PayPal that isn't
Yeah, with no, but
shit.
even PayPal has pretty ridiculous prices. Like when I was flipping items on eBay, I would be running, like I was literally running thousands of dollars a month was going through my PayPal, and it was like a 2.9% or something like that for the merchant account. They were
Right.
jacking a huge margin of
Yeah,
my profits, and I had to calculate, crunch those numbers in so that I could still make my tiny little margin that I was doing.
yeah.
It was ridiculous.
I know what you're talking about, and you know what's funny? It's Bitcoin. The thing that makes it great is that it's anonymous, so no one is there to
Yeah.
take any margin from anywhere.
Yeah, it's fantastic. By the way, this episode of the Fun Time Podcast is unofficially brought to you by Zevia, the zero-calorie soda. Delicious. I found a
They're
place up here that sells it, so I buy
oh, nice,
6 packs all the time. Put up in the
nice.
fridge. Delicious.
Yeah, dude. Zevia's is like so good. I can't believe people are still drinking fucking Diet Cola with aspartame.
You know what this is helping me do? It's helping me quit energy drinks because, like, throughout the middle of the day, I feel like I just need to drink something sweet and carbonated. Like it's kind of like the combination of my caffeine and sugar addiction to
Yeah,
energy drinks. That's like the sensation that I need. I'm like, oh, I need something sweet and carbonated, and I can crush
you
like
know what?
one or two of these, and I'm all good. And then I'll pound some green tea with and Chris actually got me some little packets of stevia, just like little like tea packet or like coffee packets that you just rip open, like those little sugar packets.
Yeah,
Freaking awesome. It's delicious.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I have quit any. Oh, there you are.
Yo.
I'm putting some. Honestly, this place at night was actually quite dangerous to be coming
Yeah.
down this ramp. It's hella dark and my base is far away. Yeah, I've been on for about 3 months now with no hardcore energy drink, but I occasionally go to like Lifestyles or Planet Organic, and I get, I don't know, it's sugary, but it's like one of those quote unquote natural energy drinks.
Yeah.
I can't describe it, but it's different from like Monster or like Rockstar.
Yeah. I can't, man. Monsters are, I find them disgusting. They're
Oh,
like
yeah.
syrup. It's
Syrup. I was about to
horrible.
say that.
It's
about to
just,
say that.
oh, I don't know how people can drink those things. Like
Yeah, those
I mean,
EVAs are great.
yeah. I love man, that's the thing with energy drinks. They just taste so good. Like I love Rockstars and Red Bulls and Full Throttles. Pretty much any of them except like NOS is good too, except for Monster. I just find Monster so disgusting.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. So, to make us, be a little more able at talking and playing Minecraft. Because like right now our speaking level is probably at 70% or 60% of what we would be if we're like looking at each other.
Our mental capacity is damaged due to Minecraft.
We're like, I am reading Bitcon.
Bitcon blog.
Actually,
posts,
I think that's an
posts.
event. I think Bitcon is like Bitcoin conference.
Bitcon? It makes sense. Oh, you got a horse? Oh, dude,
Yeah.
I gotta capture a horse. One of your horses. I got some diamond armor to put on.
I'll trade you
Trade me what?
the horse for your base.
For my base? No. It's full of like two stacks of emerald blocks.
Let's. I've got an idea. So let's find that massive dungeon again, and I'm sure once we find it, once we have like a place, because we'll have a path. To like follow. So let me just see if I've got food.
I actually documented. I wrote down coordinates for. Actually, I thought I did. I'm gonna wander off for a little bit and trying to find. I actually tunneled out of it, like from that base. I just tunneled out of it and I set a marker, but I can't remember where I put that.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh, come this way. There's about 5 different markers in these hills. I'm not kidding you.
I'm pretty sure Ace set up a bunch of them.
Yeah. There's 5 of them. I set up at least 3 because I've been down here. I've
just digging out.
Well, that's when I was like first exploring like the ground under my base. Like I was like getting hella lost, and so I don't know. This place has got a bunch of interesting things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go into the dungeon.
Just from your base.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying about Bitcoin having massive potential,
like
that outstrips anything.
Yeah, I'm seriously considering flipping in some of my silver to purchase
don't
Bitcoin.
do that.
No, I know. I've kicked it back and forth. I'm like, but because silver's gone down so much right now because we're in an inflationary period. I'm just like, I'd be losing on my investment. Like it's just I don't know. I thought about it, but I'm probably I guess.
This is the abandoned mine shaft. This is pre-dungeon.
Which other you went? Yeah, I did, however, withdraw about like less than half of my TFSA to invest into like Bitcoin and altcoins. So yeah, I mean Bitcoin is like I was looking at it earlier this year, like I think it was in the springtime when it had that peak when it went up to $1,000 and everyone was just like the internet was just rampant.
That's
I'm pretty sure I know which way to go.
Around when I got into it.
Yeah, because that Bitcoin that you purchased that I got on CA Vertex was about 800.
Yeah.
Now
it's
sitting
I'm
at
fine
400
with it.
Canadian.
I'm fine with it because it's not like I'm going to be selling. It's really too bad we didn't get into it when it was like $5.
I know, man, and you had talked about it many times, and I remember when you were talking to me about it, and I basically shrugged it off. I was like, like digital currency? Yeah, right. It's you can probably hack into it. I had absolutely zero understanding.
Let me guess, Marius. I have to find 2 friends and sell it to them, and they have to find 2 friends.
Yeah. Oh, it's a pyramid scheme.
Can you imagine that? A pyramid scheme with like Bitcoin or alt?
I can. An alt currency for it. I can definitely.
Anyway, go on.
That. I'm assuming this is David's like tunneling when we gave him coordinates. Are you still following me?
No.
Where did you? We were going down in that tunnel.
Yeah, whatever. I'll find you in a bit. I was just looking at this place. Somebody had picked it clean, this whole area.
It might have been me. I went on a rampage when we found this area.
That's fine.
I jacked so much stuff out of here.
That's fine. It's not like you won't share any one of those emerald blocks.
Yeah. I got a few.
So, just when I was like purchasing the Bitcoin, I was looking at converting it into Quark coin, but I never did. I'm like, no, there's something about this smells really fishy.
Quark coin. I've never heard of that. Ooh, gold.
So, what alt currencies are you thinking of? Like Litecoin and Feathercoin were the two primary ones that I was looking at.
So right now, if you go by, oh sweet, I found the dungeon place. So if you go by the market caps right now, Bitcoin is at like 4.7 billion for the market cap. After it is Ripple. I think they're sitting second right now in overall for alt currencies, or for all cryptocurrencies. Ripple is second, and Litecoin is third. Litecoin, I'm really surprised because it's what, like the second oldest it's one of the oldest cryptocurrencies next to Bitcoin anyways, I think.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
And it's actually sitting, it's very, very low. It's only like $3 or like about 340 US is like the value per Litecoin. And that's
what
really
was the highest?
low. The highest, it was sitting up at like 42 or something like that.
Wow.
And just keep coming to me. You can see my name on screen.
I'm looking.
I'm kind of bouncing up and down.
What's your coordinate?
I'm at 703.
Oh, okay. I see you.
25. Yeah, so head north. But yeah, so right now Litecoin is it's third place anyways for cryptocurrencies in the market caps, or market cap value. But it seems to be super low. Like it's just been kind of dwindling off and just sitting. Honestly, the graph of it looks like a pump and dump, but it is not, because it's been around for a long time. And it's
Bitcoin?
Litecoin.
Okay.
And so I mean, it looks really interesting. I'd like to buy some just to have. That's one alt currency I'm looking at, or altcoin. Another is Hyper. Hypercoin is basically what they're trying to develop is an in-game currency for new video games. They're basically trying to work with game developers to embed Hypercoin as an in-game currency that players can actually accumulate, trade with, and basically be rewarded for certain tasks in games.
You know what I'm thinking? First impression is they're trying to build a cartel.
How so?
Well, that's pretty much what it is. Oh, just fell down. That's pretty much what it is. Like, there's going to be a block of Ripple users and Ripple producers, and like producers of value for that money. That's pretty much a cartel.
I don't follow a Ripple of. Are you talking about Ripple coin? I'm.
Yeah. So the reason I said a cartel is they're trying to pool together their mutual production and consumption of that coin to produce a market.
Yes. Yeah. Somewhat.
Well,
yeah.
to whatever.
But,
I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong, but if I was a game producer, I mean, like, I'd be like, no, fuck that. Our gamers can use whatever they want. Like, the currency of choice is
or create their own currency, even.
Well, at that point, it's like the resources.
However, it depends on the resources.
Probably better spent.
However, what they're doing already is they call it the Hyper Gateway. Is basically a server network that they have a Minecraft server in the Hyper Gateway. They have Counter-Strike servers. They have Team Fortress servers. I just found a spider spawner. I'm gonna destroy it.
No, don't.
Why not?
We need it.
Why?
For usage.
Deep.
Well, we have to build around it and use the spiders that are produced.
Why? I've got a. Oh man, you haven't played for a while. I've built a lot of things in this game. I'm just gonna kill it.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Our talking ability is significantly reduced playing this game, and staying on track. What they're doing with the Hyper Gateway is basically I haven't tested out the servers yet. That was something I was meaning to do, is to load up the Counter-Strike servers and just kind of see what kind of what kind of reward system they have, because I'm trying to figure out and I'm trying to understand basically.
Which server? Hyper?
For the Hyper Gateway, yeah, their gaming server network. They have some Counter-Strike source servers. They have a Minecraft server, Rust server, Team Fortress Classic server, Team Fortress 2. So they've got these game servers that players can basically go into and somehow they've got it set up that as you play the game, you get rewarded for certain feats in hypercoin. Then you can like purchase your guns or whatever with hypercoin. So they've kind of altered the in-game currency to be using hypercoin.
Yeah.
I don't, again, like I haven't played it, so I really don't understand how they're doing it and how it's generating, like how it's creating business, how it's creating revenue for them or for the games in particular. That's something
They
that
sell hypercoins.
I guess, but that's the thing.
They produce hyper.
The whole thing is like it's got to be a freemium type game, right? We've seen all the freemium games on smartphones where, yeah, it's free to play, but if you want, pay to win, you can buy these, the money, whatever the currency is in game.
Yeah.
Whether it's real currency or not, it's kind of like it's just digital currency for that particular game.
But hypercoin is exchangeable into US
Bitcoin
dollars, let's say.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, through the network, you just swap it for Bitcoin or whatever Litecoin, and then you can trade it on on an exchange for you can cash out into actual fiat currency. But what I've kind of been scratching my head at is like what exactly, if I'm joining Counter-Strike source server and I'm not paying anything, like I'm not paying anything at all, I'm just playing on the server. How are they generating hypercoin to reward the players? Are they, like, when you join the server, do they have in the message of the day, do they have like an ad coming up or something?
There's a pool of currency that is like, so if they want to start a server, they start with 100 hypercoins, right? And then whatever, like, there's going to be some people that buy the services and some people that don't. So there will always be like their hypercoin pool. Like, let's say it starts at 100, it'll start going down, it'll start going up, so it'll like gyrate.
Maybe the other thing,
like,
is,
imagine a casino.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I don't want to have to pay anything to get hypercoin, and that's what they were talking about. That people getting hypercoin for free just by playing the game. They don't have to. There's no money out of pocket. They just get rewarded with hypercoin.
But not everyone will be able to win hypercoin like that. It sounds like it's you'll have to be good and stuff.
Yeah, so they reward it. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So they say they reward it at the end of each round. Like one player would get X amount of hypercoin for being like the MVP, and then that player would then be able to use it as an exchange it basically for in-game currency at some point in time, where they could be like, okay, I want to buy an op this round, so I'm going to exchange my 25 millibit hypercoins or whatever, millihypercoins.
Oh, and so it's like, but I didn't even consider that, because in that way, theoretically, somebody's like, okay, first round, but the guy who's been playing there for months is like already decked out with an op, and you're running around with a pistol.
Yeah. It could be that too. I mean, I don't, like I said, I haven't tried it yet, so I don't really know how they've got it set up, but it got me thinking to it, and it's just a really cool, real cool idea, and I really enjoy that, because again, I've looked at so many. I still want to get into the app developing, like game or like mobile gaming development. I'd love to get into that and work with a team of developers and kind of get some of my ideas out into a game. I don't know, I've been gaming for my whole life, and I have really good some awesome ideas.
A beta testing company.
I'm
you'll beta test their game.
I've just been kind of doing a business breakout for a potential company for developing mobile apps, and also using hypercoin as an in-game currency as well.
So you're like breaking them out of jail.
Sure. I don't know. I just want to get behind it. I don't know enough about cryptocurrencies to create my own, so I figured I could piggyback off their network. And
I was just saying that because you said a breakout.
Oh, no,
but
I mean
I'm ESL,
brainstorming.
So I don't know.
You are ESL, yeah. I mean brainstorming, just like a business plan or a little business model, looking at looking at a company, and then.
So you're talking to like the guys that run the show at that company.
Ooh, found a chest. You want some melon seeds? I got a lot.
You've been talking to this company.
No, I have not yet. I'm looking at developing my own company, sourcing some e-lancers to assist in it.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
But then also talk with Hyper to get to to be able to get assistance with their blockchain technology for Hyper and see how we can implement it in game. Basically, that's what would be required from them. So, but yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a really cool industry to get into. It's not even baby. It's in its embryonic stages, pretty much. Like
okay.
it's.
So what about this?
Yeah.
So let me throw in some ideas.
Yep. Bring it.
The fact that it's a hypercoin market is very limiting because of that. Because it's a market that you can only participate in with hypercoins.
Yeah.
And like obviously that's part of their image and that's the niche they're going for. But in my opinion, I would want to get in between, let's say, the player and your hypercoin game, where somebody without hypercoins but with other coins can still participate.
Yeah.
So to me, that would make your server, like, it would be accessible to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Or not. When I say anyone, I mean any cryptocurrency.
Yeah, so I know what you're saying, and there's actually oh cool, okay, I found an actual legit exit from like a vein that runs into an exit into the surface.
Nice.
There is a company called Cashier, Casheer, and from what I've heard from some of their podcasts with David Seaman and stuff, is that they're working on an app that basically targets all altcoins, where you can have an app on your phone that you can have a wallet for every altcoin that you want, and will basically on the fly convert it into, I don't know exactly how they're doing it, but convert it into USD or convert it into whatever is required to make purchases at, say, like you go into a Walgreens. They were using this example in the States where, you walk into a Walgreens and you want to purchase something and you use Cashier, you can just boom, pull up your phone and just scan something and use your Litecoin, use your Ripple, use whatever you want. It doesn't matter, and it just boom,
I can't believe we didn't think
transfers.
of this earlier.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's just a complete link to all of the cryptocurrencies into one payment application, where it doesn't matter what you have. Ripple, Bitcoin, Dogecoin.
That idea.
It doesn't matter.
That idea is so good that I would still be interested in participating in that kind of idea, even if there's So what is holy shit? I can't put it into words what I'm thinking of. Imagine, so Cashier is a altcoin program.
Yep.
Imagine altcoin programs being as diverse as how many altcoins there are. But imagine altcoin programs just like Cashier, where they all do the exact same thing as Cashier. I would still try to make my own Cashier, even if there were like 20 other Cashiers being developed.
Yeah, well, exactly, and that's the whole thing. Like which again, this industry is so new that even when that's the whole thing with the altcoins, is there's certain things that Bitcoin can't do. Like, for the thing with Hyper is that it takes, it's almost instantaneous when you want to transfer hypercoin from one person to another. That's where the application, it's kind of developed specifically for gaming, where in gaming you need rapid instant transactions. You can't go and like, okay, I want to buy an epic sword on World of Warcraft or something, and you're sitting there and you're making a purchase and you have to wait 45 minutes for the network to verify the transaction. It's like, no, that's bullshit.
Is that what the status of Bitcoin is?
Pretty much. The network, I mean, for any bigger transactions, it'll take about 45 minutes, 30 minutes to 45 minutes for a transaction to settle on the network, for it to be verified and for the network to agree on the legitimacy of the transaction. Whereas Hypercoin, I don't know how it all works. Again, I'm still very new to cryptocurrencies and how all the algorithms and how all the blockchain technology works, but their system is set up so that it should be pretty much instantaneously, where you transfer, boom, 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 done. So that's kind of where, yeah. Now, another thing too, which is something that I never heard of before I started kind of digging into altcoins, was in order for Bitcoins to be mined, you have to have proof of work, where you have to have miners that are, hashing on the network, that are pumping out, now there's like miners that are pumping out 7, what is it, tera, is it not, not terabytes, there's, what is
Flops.
it? There's, oh man, I completely forgot the unit they use to measure mining.
Quads?
No, no. There's like mega hash, the giga hash, and a tera hash capacity. And so now there's like ASICs mining devices for like, I think one's like $3,000 and it mines at 5.5 terahashes a second, which is...
That's massive.
It's massive.
Wait, per second?
Or whatever the unit of measurement is. I think it's terahash a second. Which is massive.
I remember. You know what? When you were living, it might have been with Jamie. I was looking at a Butterfly Labs miner
Butterfly Labs,
that I was gonna.
You were going to buy one. Bleep.
So I was gonna buy a Butterfly Labs with like, I don't know what it was. It was like 3.5 giga hash, which at the time was like
massive,
amazing. But the waiting time, because what you have to do is you have to buy a ticket, and it's like, then you had to purchase it, and the waiting time was like months and months.
Yeah.
But my calculation, because I used this Bitcoin mining calculator to see what my break-even rate would have been.
I've been.
It was like I'm like, man,
those quite a bit.
We gotta fucking do this. And this was when Bitcoin was like $120 that summer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know, man. It's I'm looking at them now. There's like some miners, Spoondle. I can't even remember what they're called. I think the guy was they're out of Israel. Spoonduli. I can't remember how it's pronounced. They've got a 3. I emailed it to you actually. I was like, want to go halfers on it? It's about $700. It's on holiday, and it's 1.7 terahash is its capacity. And I calculated it, and those things are getting fast enough that you're making quite a bit more like on your ROI, basically, because your I is going to be the kilowatt hours that you're burning up, and like your energy that you're burning up, as well as the initial investment on it, and you actually do pretty good on it. And I've been looking at possibly launching like a mining company, just buying. They have like for $3,000, they have 5.7 terahash mining devices that. I was working I was using calculators and working the numbers. If Bitcoin goes up to $1,000, if it eventually goes up to $1,000, say everything you mine, you just keep. With say like a $30,000 investment, getting 10 of these things, it was something around like $400,000 a year. Like, I was like, oh my god! At the beginning, like you're not gonna make it. You don't at the price it is right now, like $350. You don't want to sell Bitcoin at that. Like you do not want to be using up Bitcoin at that price. That's just I don't know. You're wasting a lot of potential value. So I mean, if you just hold it and just kind of wait for a specific margin, then you could do pretty good. I think though, but I don't really know. I've never mined before. That's using a web calculator. I don't know how accurate it is. And
exactly.
I wouldn't really feel comfortable, procuring $30,000 investment out of people to launch something that I really am not 100% confident in.
So if Bitcoin at today's prices, you'd be making $5,000 a year?
You'd be making more than 5. Well, I mean, if you're investing.
What was the price you quoted?
Okay, so I used today's prices, and I think with like one miner, say if you use like $3,000, I think you can make. I think it was somewhere around like 10 to 15,000, something like that. So you're gonna profit in a year. But I was looking, going industrial, taking a much larger investment and trying to see how much you could make. But if you wanted to, as an experiment, I'd be definitely into it, would be to split the cost of the smaller miner. It's like 1.7 terahash a second, and it's about
Well, how about this? why not purchase like a really small miner, like something that you find on Craigslist?
They're not efficient. You burn up.
No. I understand, but I'm thinking in terms, so you get a good read on what your hash profitability is. Like,
Well,
something that gives you real world
I see what you're
experience
saying.
as
Actually,
opposed
yeah. So you
to
can actually look at
calculator.
your hashing and then compare it. Well, I'd
Don't necessarily buy one that's like, those like a 4 hard drive rig.
Mhm.
Where you're running like 3 computers that are like rigged onto like one massive motherboard.
They don't really do those anymore. They used to. So at
No, I
first
know,
the
but you
hashing,
can find one on Craigslist.
you could, but again, I don't know because the complexity in mining consistently goes up, right? It always gets the difficulty. It constantly increases to get harder and harder. And so, like initially, the hashing, everyone would be running through their processors. They'd be running hashing on it, and then they realized that the GPUs were better. Like your video card had more power, so they'd be using that. And then eventually, the ASICs chip, ACIS chip,
Yes.
was developed, which is it's a chip specifically for mining bitcoins. And then people started upgrading the chips and making rigs with all these 20 chips in one rig that you could just plug and play, basically stick an Ethernet cable into it, connect to it over your IP, over its IP address, set it up, add your pool information, boom, away you go. You're mining Bitcoin. So I mean, I don't know. It's like I said, it's interesting. I'd like to.
Okay, I'm gonna look at some miners
Mhm.
online after our talk tonight.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's interesting to get into. A lot of people warn, like, don't bother trying to get into mining. It's too difficult, blah blah blah. But if these companies are still making these miners, okay, they're making these miners. If you're using a lot of software that everyone seems to use, like those online calculators,
Yes.
and even though those, a lot of the quotes are like, look, like this may not be accurate. It really depends on, your pool, what kind of pool you're in, or if
You
you're
can
doing it
do
on your
enough
own.
research to figure out how much your profitability will be.
Exactly. Even with a plus loss of 20%, like a plus loss margin, you put in 20%, you can still make money on it. And I'm like, this is something to look at, because again, like I said, even at today's rates, at today's Bitcoin value, you can make a profit at it. So it would seem reasonable that you could get mining, hold onto your Bitcoin, and wait for a desired margin to then trade it in to recoup your investments over time.
Yeah.
I don't know, that would make sense to me. So
what coin would you be mining?
Bitcoin. I like, to begin with, that's what I would start with, because I don't know a lot about altcoins. I'm just starting to dive into that stuff. That's what I'd go for. Just Bitcoin to start with. Now, however, it is kind of on a time frame, because in third quarter 2006, the blocks are getting halved, because every 4 years the block the mining blocks, I don't really know what the proper term is for it, they get halved. So right now it's like, what is it, 24 bitcoins get released every block that gets solved. And then in 2006 third quarter, that ratio gets cut in half, as Bitcoin does every 4 years. It gets
The
reduced in half.
difficulty gets up.
Mm-hmm. Well, the difficulty increases, but the block reduces. It gets cut in half, where it only releases 12 bitcoins, something like that.
Oh, because there's less
Per block.
bitcoins to
Exactly, because they have
give
to.
out.
Yeah, because they have that. Every year, the amount of bitcoins, or every 4 years, the amount of bitcoins that get distributed per block gets halved, so that
Right.
they can kind of control the amount of bitcoins, and it's basically like you can predict how many coins are going to be in circulation by which time.
And at that point, that's when the that's when
the price is going to skyrocket. 'Cause
exactly.
now
So
it's-
let's start thinking about what type of things we can do to take advantage of the market when it becomes more of a users rather than like a mining market. Like there will still be miners, but at that point the value will come in from what people are using it for, and like the amount that people are using it as a currency.
Yeah, exactly. So
let's start a Bitcoin government, and we can start like
Bitcoin funded government.
Yeah.
Well,
no, not a Bitcoin funded government, just like a Bitcoin authority where we tax 1% of all Bitcoin transactions.
Well, you know what? It's funny because I've been when you're talking about taxing, I've been thinking about like creating games, using like hypercoin, as I said before, as like the the in-game currency. And as I was working out I basically made myself just think. I'm like, okay, start thinking about like how can this work as in a business sense. How are the people going to how are the players going to be generating hypercoin for free? B, how are they spending it? And C, how does the game keep creating how does the game create hypercoin? Either through like taxing the players. Say if you have a game that people build their property or whatever, or can build different things like a city. Basically, it's a completely player-based city that everyone's building. They can buy land or they can mortgage it if they don't have enough. Things like things like that. Where how does the currency kind of bounce around? And that was one thing where I thought man, you could have like alliance wars where how in a guild you have in World of Warcraft you have a guild master where people say they have to pay in 20 hypercoin a week to pay their taxes into the alliance. And then the alliance leader can then distribute that currency accordingly, and they can set the ratios, and all members in the alliance or in the guild can then see those ratios, so they can see where the breakup is, and say officers get issued a certain amount of crypto, or get issued a certain amount of hypercoin, and then they can use that for different alliance or different battlefronts, whatever it is, or they can use that for developing newbies that are coming into the alliance. I can see the logic in that.
So what would you be doing? Where do you come in?
Creating the games. Creating these games, and that's the other thing too, is that you'd have to be able to say okay, this is a game that's free to play. The way that the currency, because it's it's real currency that people are dealing with here. So the way that it would work would be, say, the game would have to be able to generate a certain amount of revenue, like a certain amount of hypercoin that the game could generate and basically absorb out of the players. And at the same time, though, you'd have to have a split where, say, 40% goes to the developer, and then 60% would get funneled back into the game, back into the environment of the game. Either generation through, like I said, those kind of taxes, or in-game purchases. Say if players want to go to NPCs in the game and purchase items, or maybe you could have a game where it's completely peer-to-peer, where it's completely player-generated, and that's the only way that you can purchase stuff. Where you have to craft items. People have to get all these resources to craft something, then they can go into a in-game auction where they can sell their items. I mean, there's tons of ideas that I've kind of had floating around that.
So in this model, I like it, but in this model, you're competing against the gaming industry.
Somewhat.
So your success is predicated on you building a good game.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
I think. Well, so really, you could say that about you making money. You can do that right now with US dollars, or if you create the next Zynga and people are buying into it in the current paradigm, that good game idea would make you money that way as well, right?
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. It can make you money that way as well. But I just like the idea of incorporating a cryptocurrency into it. Now, the other thing with Hyper, I kind of started to touch on this before, but kind of we got sidetracked and ended. What I was talking about was, with Bitcoin, in order to mine Bitcoin, in order for coins to be created, you have to mine them, which is proof of work, where you have hardware running and it's consuming energy, and in return you get Bitcoin. Some of these other cryptocurrencies, these altcoins that are coming out, they generate their coin. They'll have a mining phase. They'll kind of have two phases in the generation. They'll have a mining phase where, say, up to 4 million coins will be mined, And after that, they go to a proof of stake system, where
Stake?
proof of stake, yeah. Basically, it's like you have a wallet on your computer. You have an open wallet. You'll put 10,000 coins into your wallet. You keep it open so that it works on the network. And I think I found your tunnel that you just dug out into the surface. And what you'll do is the coins that you have in your wallet, you'll leave it open. What you'll do is the wallet will automatically stake them, where it's basically, I'm not 1,000% sure on this, but you're basically assuring the network that you're not going to spend this currency, that you're going to hold on to it, that you're going to keep it, and you're not just going to spend it. And when you stake your coin,
Okay, but why do you need to make that promise?
Because it's the proof of stake. Because the reason why you do that, the reason why you stake your coin, is so that you can get a return of what hypercoin has, 5% a month. You earn 5% a month of the value of your coin.
In hypercoin.
In hypercoin, yes.
Where does the hypercoin generation come from? From the fact that people are buying it?
From staking it. No, so when people stake hypercoin on their wallet, basically they're saying, like, I'm holding onto this coin. I'm investing in the network. They get a return of 5% a month on their coin.
Right.
That's pretty powerful. Like, and I've looked at the price. I've looked at it to see how much the price fluctuates and stuff like that in the market, and it doesn't fluctuate that much. It's been pretty stable, and it's actually increasing. I've looked at a lot of different altcoins and looked at their graphs for their their value and their market caps. So many of them, even Litecoin, they all have the same looking graph where they start off at their basically like an IPO, will come in fairly low. It will get pumped up, and then eventually it'll just ramp up. It'll hit a roof and then plummet within within days. It looks like a pump and dump, and then it'll kind of settle down, and it'll just have that the half or I can't remember what the graph is, but it'll just slowly diminish, and it'll just kind of flatten out at the bottom, and it'll just kind of dwindle away and not really have any performance. Won't have really any volatility. It'll just kind of sit and just bounce 10-20% every week, but it's just going up and down, up and down, up and down, and it's not really doing much. And 10 and 20% is literally like 0.001 cent is it increases going up 20%, and it decreases so I look at the trade volume too, and the amount of people, or the amount of trades in correlation to Bitcoin. Nothing. Like, it's like 0.01 bitcoins, 0.002 bitcoins. There's really just no actual trade volume. And so that's what a lot of these altcoins look like. Then you look at Hyper. It had that kind of initial pump. It didn't really dump. It kind of like half, like it chunked down about half of its roof, and then it pumped back up and almost met the roof again, then dropped back down, and then has been steadily growing and steadily increasing in value, and it's got a really nice trend line to it. You look at it, it's like, wow, that's a really good trend line to it. And again, I'm still learning about a lot of these altcoins and all the cryptocurrencies and stuff, but it looks a lot more of an appealing investment. If I were to position myself as a portfolio manager, I look at all the other trends, and then I look at this one, I go, this one has some longevity to it. On top of that, it's giving you a return of 5% a month if you stake all of your coin. So it's like, man, I've got my TFSA that's been doing, I don't know, I think it was doing decent as far as everything else is concerned. It was doing about 6% a year.
I think it's down on the year now.
It's down. Yeah, this year it's down. This year pretty much everything's down. And I was in today.
It was up. It was up. It was up. Like, I'm sure it was up just a month ago.
Sorry, which hypercoin?
No, your RRSP.
My TFSA. Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, I've got like a Canadian something crap bond or whatever the fuck. I don't even know what it is. I don't know what kind of market I'm in. And
Who
yeah,
sold
it
it
was
to you?
it was doing well. It was a World Financial Group. They're actually really nice people. I kind of questioned their complete knowledge of the markets,
Yeah.
because she literally, like, she was breaking down. She's like, okay, like, what's your liquid assets? What do you have? Blah blah blah. And I was like, well, I've got this amount, and she writes down how much I've got in my RSP, TFSA.
I hope you didn't tell them anything about your silver.
I did. I said, well, and then I looked. I was like, I've got about this amount of money in precious metals. And she's like, okay, precious metals. I'm like, and I've got this amount in Bitcoin. She's like, okay, coins. She literally wrote down coins, like
Yeah,
physical
wow.
silver coins or something. I'm just like, my fucking god, you're you're trying to, you're getting people set up with investments, and you have no idea of, like,
No.
I can say precious metals. You're like, oh, okay, like, I don't really know what that is.
Oh, a
What?
coil of copper or a coil of aluminum.
Yeah, I've got these boxes full of copper cabling. Like, oh my man. But however, that's not just their one business program that they have. They also have these, like, equity-backed mortgages, which are pretty interesting, where you can basically take the equity out of your mortgage and invest on it while you're paying your 2.9% interest on your mortgage, and then you can get what they aim for is get a return
You're beating
of
out
6%.
the interest.
Yeah, you're beating out the interest and then some, and then so you're actually, like, profiting off of your mortgage.
Yeah.
So instead,
Which is a pretty dangerous thing to do.
yeah, I mean, it's interesting in a good economy. Sure, it's great, but are we in a good, stable economy? No, not at all. So I mean, the idea is there. It's a great idea, but
That's probably what's kind of been pumping up this recovery for the past. I mean, it's one of the things that's been
Mhm.
I don't know, feeding this bubble.
Yeah, equity-backed mortgages or something. But yeah, I don't know. So it was pretty interesting though.
Hey, can
But,
we take a break for 2 seconds?
Yep. Pause. Hey, I'm almost done. I'm gonna wrap it up real quick here. Okay.
Are you okay?
You tired?
Yeah. You ready to cuddle? I was ready to cuddle an hour ago.
Hey, I said I'm gonna do a podcast, and you said as long as you're done by 11, so we can cuddle.
Listen.
You should support me, Chris.
Support you.
You don't seem very enthusiastic about supporting me.
After an hour and a half now.
We didn't get started till like 9 o'clock.
And
Or sorry, not 9 o'clock. 9:30. Because we had some technical issues to deal with.
Oh my god, fuck you.
Sorry. Okay. Maurice, that's fine.
No, I honestly did not hear
You
anything.
didn't hear that? Okay, fair
I
enough.
just got
was
back
talking
now.
to Chris. Okay,
I said stop touching my butt.
did you hear that? Yeah, he heard that.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah. Anyways, more equity-backed mortgages or whatever exactly it's called. Interesting in theory.
Mortgage-backed securities,
Mortgage-backed securities. Yeah.
MBS.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting theories. Kind of risky, but
Yeah.
if you can get where what they're saying is you don't pay your mortgage, you just pay your interest, and that's what they were talking about. Where that 3%, you just use that to pay off your mortgage, which, I mean, hey, if you can do that over 20 years and it pays it off, and all you've ever paid on your mortgage was just your interest and never had to actually pay any of the actual mortgage amount, then yeah, that's a pretty cool system. But again, yeah, it's can be a little dangerous. So
Yeah. Yeah, I
it's
agree.
interesting stuff. Anyways, I think we can kind of wrap it up there for now. We've kind
Right,
of started to dive into a bunch of different subjects. So
That sounds good to me.
Mhm.
Send me the link tomorrow and/or
Yep.
the file.
for which? Oh, for this video, for
This
the
file.
podcast. Yeah.
Well, I guess unless you have a FTP, like a file box.
Oh, like
You're not gonna be able
like
to
a
email it.
Dropbox or something. Yeah, no, I'll upload it somewhere. it's going to be probably a pretty. Do you want the video or just audio?
I'll go with the video. I'd like to see what you were doing.
Well, I'll just edit everything and put it up on YouTube.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah,
but I also want the audio file.
Okay, yeah, I can get the audio for you.
There's one more thing, and let's do like itineraries and/or send me whatever you're looking at.
Yep.
So I can look at it and be prepared for the podcast. So you don't surprise me with any like surprise question.
Just trickery, just perform mass trickery on you and lure you into controversial subjects that you have to.
Welcome to the Fun Time Podcast. So Marius, what anal lube do you use?
Fun Time Podcast. So how about those Holocausts, eh? Jeez. I was listening.
Marius, you had a special comment on this.
Yeah, Chris and I were listening to the Bill Burr's new special, and he was talking about these controversial themed parties. And he was talking about he was gonna have a Holocaust themed pool party. He's like, yeah, come here, get into the pool, yeah. It was too funny. Basically, everyone stop taking shit so seriously. Just chill, smoke a joint, and just relax.
Yeah, that won't happen though.
No, never. Cool. Okay,
Not never.
Well, good podcast. That was fun. I kind of enjoy the gaming podcast. We can kind of just relax, jump around on Minecraft or whatever. And
can you also send me a link to the program that you downloaded so I can set it up, and we can later on splice it into a 2-screen.
Yeah, definitely. What I'll do is I can send it to you. It's free software, and what you can do is basically just record your webcam. It just records into a little box, and then you can actually just send me that video file of just your webcam, and I can just overlay it on the video on the other corner so that we can kind of both be displayed on the screen. So
it's me playing. Oh, so we have the video and the webcam.
Yeah, so it would be my screen of Minecraft with my webcam video and your webcam video on top of it. I could also, I don't know what your computer's abilities are, but if it can actually record the video, like the actual gameplay, but I can always add that in too, where we could kind of have like a split screen thing going on where we each have our own little thing. If I have a video of my gameplay rather than just me standing up playing a game. Well, it would be my video. The main video would just be my in-game footage, and then it would be my webcam thing over top with yours on the other corner. So it wouldn't be that bad. But if we can get if we can splice it, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Okay, man.
Follow up.
Well, we'll end this here and. Another episode of the Fun Time Podcast. I don't know which episode number this is. We could call this the first, the first official episode. Yeah. And roll out from there.
Brought to you by Zevia.
Brought to you by Zevia. Unofficially brought to you by Zevia. The 0-calorie soda. No sugar, no artificial sweeteners.
All right. Next time.
All right. See ya.
Later.